And good evening, I'm Jeff Lyons. This is the 14 First Alert Weather Show at 9, sponsored by Audubon Chrysler Center. And we're glad you're here tonight. As always, I'm watching your comments on the 14 News Facebook page, and we'll chat a little bit here in a minute. Boy, there is something in the air. I suspect it's some of that Canadian wildfire smoke. Of course, it's been very muggy out there too, so we've got humidity and just kind of that typical late summer haze. We're actually on alert for heat. Excessive heat all the way through Thursday. That heat index will be topping out near 110 degrees. Maybe an isolated thunderstorm or two. We kind of got skunked on those last week, so I'm a little hesitant to really go all out on forecasting thunderstorms for the week, but it certainly isn't out of the question that we could have some out there by Wednesday and Thursday. The heat is pretty expansive. In fact, we have an extreme heat warning. That's a notch up from the heat advisory from about Mount Vernon, Illinois to St. Louis, all the way back to the Missouri-Kansas border. And then coming our way, it's a heat advisory all the way down to Nashville, Memphis, and pretty much every place here across the lower Ohio Valley. And here's why: that heat index will get close to, if not above, 110 each afternoon. Now, these are just forecast maximum heat index readings, but as you know, we can go a lot higher than that. Our corridor for severe weather or thunderstorms appears to be setting up to the north. We have some warnings here out to the west of that would be about Bryan, Ohio up here. Lima would be down in here, but anyway, far away from the tri-state, and those will be moving away. And part of the reason is our heat dome, or the excessive heat we have in place, kind of acts as a shield, so it forces the active weather back to the north. Now, tomorrow we start to dip into that level 1 or marginal risk. I really don't think we're going to see much of anything. Same for Wednesday at a level 1 risk, but the heat will definitely be the more disruptive and dangerous factor in the weather. Hour by hour, I'm going to show you both here just to show how crazy they can be. And of course, this is the GFS model, which is our in-house model. I'm sorry, the graph model, which is our in-house, and it keeps all of the storms back to the east. In fact, nothing really penetrates the shield here over the tri-state, with the possible exception of a few showers and storms early Thursday morning. Now, this has been showing up repeatedly. There have been many other variations here to the north. That's the one thing that has been consistent. Let's fact check that. It's not really fact checking because they're both models, so they're trying to predict or help us predict what will happen. And the HER is dry for the most part tomorrow, and then late, this one only goes to Wednesday night. It tries to backbuild some thunderstorms from a line that dives across Ohio into the tri-state, and I just don't know that that's going to actually happen, and I'll show you why here when we look at the bigger map. Temperatures will stay in the mid to low to mid 90s through Friday. Then we get another burst of heat there over the weekend. So our heat wave may last 7 full days here before we start to break out. That Canadian smoke is showing up on the imagery here and on the model. So we will probably see a little more of that kind of hazy gray in the sky again tomorrow. Currently we're at 84 degrees. That still feels like 94. Look at that dew point at 77. These dew points have gone bananas. As a friend of mine used to say, the dew point has reached the don't point. Many of you remember John Payne, the professor here, way back on 14, but he coined that phrase. And it really is the reason that we can't get these temperatures down. There's so much moisture in the air, there just isn't any capacity to cool. And so we'll stay here in the 90s, mid 90s, feels like temps through 10 or 11 o'clock. Our lows will stay in the mid to upper 70s. Generally, the low drops down to about the dew point. And then tomorrow, we could again see 96 or greater. 96 today is actually tied for the hottest temperature felt so far in the year, in 2026. We did it again back in July with a 96-degree reading. No rainfall to show you, and we go a little farther into the rainfall deficit category there. Surprisingly, our average temperature, because we had some cool days there at the beginning of the month, is still not above normal. You would think it would be, and by the end of this week it will. Commuting tomorrow, hot and humid with temperatures in the mid-90s, and our belt of strong to severe thunderstorms here to the north extends from near Davenport, Iowa, or that'd be Waterloo up there, Waterloo, Cedar Rapids, all the way across Ohio and into West Virginia, Delaware, and Maryland. Those storms have pretty much worked themselves out for now. We still have those severe up over Ohio. Now watch this, Mac, because this is where that kind of backdoor rain threat comes from. So we have some thunderstorms noted here for tomorrow afternoon, again to our east, and then there you see that system moving up towards Cincinnati, but the back edge or outflow showing on the model, and this was showing earlier today too, coming the wrong way there from the east and into our eastern counties. Now it's going to have a lot of push to make it that far. So possible, yes. Plausible, not so much. We shall see. And then we get another couple of rounds of showers and storms trying to ignite over the tri-state there by early Thursday morning. And I'm going to show you the GFS and the European, but they're real noisy and basically worthless this week because of the ongoing weather. I mean, it's just going to be hot and humid, so there really isn't much skill involved here with predicting where thunderstorms will fire, because they will pop up anywhere they want over the coming days here, just depending on the heat, humidity, and then where there's some kind of lift or mechanism and outflow from an adjacent storm to get them going. The rain potential across the GFS there, not too impressive. And the European model, really wet and really wild as well, showing some rain chances there through Thursday morning, and then just kind of off and on and all over through the weekend. And the Europeans' rainfall total is in the ballpark with the GFS too, around 1/2 inch or so, maybe a little more. But the bottom line here is it's going to be very, very spotty. And if you do get 1/2 inch of rain, you are one of the lucky ones. Most will not see that. 76 tonight, up to 94 tomorrow. Hot and humid, of course. That heat index will swelter all the way through Thursday. 90, comparatively speaking, will be the cool day this week when we drop to 90. But then here we go with the mid-90s again on Sunday, and maybe an actual break in the heat wave there starting early next week. The longer range outlook has been foretelling these above normal temperatures here, and it still does through the 24th, and drier than normal too. And this is Marley with one of those squish toy things. I'm not sure what that is, but anyway, Marley's enjoying it, and hope you are too. All right, let's check out your questions and comments here, if we have any. Jeanette Rice says, good evening. Hey, Jeanette, how are you? Suzanne Daly, always watching, right? William Raleigh, Griffin did an amazing job with Weather Show last night. Yeah, that's kind of wild, isn't it? I'll talk about that in a second. We got Cheyenne Hammond's on, Jeff Miller's on, Bill Vowles, nothing like crazy weather, I agree. John Radius, what keeps the dew point below the temperature? Well, it can't be above the temperature, because when you get to, if the temperature and the dew point are equal, you're saturated at 100%. It's raining, usually. So the dew point can't, like if it's 80 and the dew point goes to 85, I mean, once you can't get wetter than wet. You know, once you get to 100%, that's where you are. And the dew point is derived, this probably answers the question better than that. It's the difference, how can I describe it? So to measure the dew point, the way it's done, or at least it was done in the old days, it's done electronically today, but you would have two thermometers, a sling psychrometer, right? One of them had a dry bulb, you know, the part that measures the temperature, and the other part had a little wet muslin bag on it that you would put in distilled water. And the point was, you'd swing this thing around, and that water on the little muslin bag would evaporate and cool that temperature. So that would be the dew point depression, right? So you would have, say it was 80 degrees, and you swung that thing around, and the water evaporated and pulled some of the heat from the thermometer, and the thermometer read 65. So then you'd have a dew point depression of 15 degrees, and that would actually be comfortable. And what happens is, as the moisture content in the air comes up, you could swing the sling all day, and it wouldn't evaporate, and so then your numbers would be closer. And that is one of the things that the wet bulb temperature is measured with today. You've probably seen NFL and MLB and even on your sidelines at your local kids' sports, where they have that wet bulb device, which takes a reading and does it that way to determine the heat index. Okay, it's the wet bulb globe temperature. The globe is the dark thing. Oh, we could go way down the rabbit hole. I'll do some explainers on that tomorrow. Okay. William Raleigh's yard is dying with no rain. I know, you can't possibly water it enough either. John Radisson says, I mean, what keeps the dew point from falling below the temperature? No, the dew point's always below the temperature for the reason I just mentioned, just inherently, because it's measuring moisture content in the air and the cooling capacity of it. So it's always going to be lower. We call that the dew point depression. And then you have a chart, and if the dew point depression is 5 and the temperature is this, then you can calculate relative humidity or absolute humidity, or there are many humidities. You can specific humidity, you can do them all. Rhonda's ready for cooler weather, and so is Joyce Majors. All right, well, we are in a growing legion of folks that wanted to cool down out there. Quick word about Griffin Glasscock. You probably saw her here on the weekend. I don't know if she did a streaming show or not, but just to give you the backstory here, that's why you watch this show anyway. So Michael Fecka, our weekend meteorologist, left on the 1st of June. And we had a meteorologist lined up to take his spot, and that person then had a change in life status. Anyway, he couldn't take the job. And so there we go. So there's 1 month where we didn't have anybody to cover weekends. So our normal thing around here, Arden and Byron and I help each other out. So I usually pick up Sunday nights because I live nearby. I can get over here and do those. And then we split the Saturdays. And so sometimes you've been seeing Arden, sometimes you've been seeing Byron, and occasionally you see me on Saturday nights too. And what we try to avoid in this situation, because we have so many shows, you hate for anybody to have to work more than like 7 or 8 or 9 days in a row, because you kind of get like that after a while. But it's inevitable that sometimes that happens. People had vacations planned and so on. So we've been, working extra shifts to cover that gap while the hiring process continued for the weekend job. And as you know, 14 News and 44 News are coming together. We're collaborating, and so she was available, and and offered, bless her heart, offered to come over here and and pick up weekends at least this month. She's going to leave the business in September. She wants to spend time with her family and kind of step out for a bit. I don't know if it's permanent or just for a few years while while she has young children at home, and we certainly get that. And so she's going to do that. And then when the time's right, she may come back into broadcasting, or maybe not. I don't really know. But Griffin's a wonderful person, and came right in here, hit the ground running. There wasn't, she already knew how to do this. It was just a matter of changing the channel number behind her. And so that's how we got Griffin. And you will see Griffin every weekend now until Labor Day. And I think it's me, and then beyond that, then Griffin, I think her last day on the air is around the 12th or 13th of September. And then she's done. She's finished her contract, and she'll go on to life out there on the outside, as we like to say here, on the inside. So thanks to Griffin. And I'm glad you all are enjoying her. Many of you have encouraged her to stay. Of course, we have too, but Griffin had already decided that she wanted to, do something different for a while. So anyway, thanks again to Griffin Glasscock from 44 News. Now with 14 News, we're all kind of one big happy family here, and you'll be seeing a lot of crossover here in the coming weeks ahead. You might have seen Emma Beck anchoring on 44, and Leslie Chapman, a couple of our journalists here, went over to help them out. Same way, they were a little short of people. And so that's how we're working together. It's been a very positive experience, I wouldn't liken it to the Brady Bunch, but it's like that. Everybody gets along, everybody's professional, and we all like each other. So it's been a very good thing, and it's going to be an even better thing for you all once we've combined forces here to do news and weather and sports and all that. So stay tuned, all right? Please, whatever you do, stay tuned. All right, let me see if you have any other questions. Now we got Laura Gray in there in Dawson Springs. And that's everybody. Okay, I got one quick thing for you, because this week the Perseid meteor showers are going to peak soon, in the next few days. And the plus side is it's new moon, so we don't have the moon interfering with seeing the meteors. On the other side, we've got smoke in the atmosphere and possibly clouds this week, so it may be a little tough unless you're really out where it's dark. It's not hard to see the Perseid meteors. You just go out where it's dark, let your eyes adjust, gaze off to the north. You'll kind of see them. If you're lucky, you might see 40 or 50 an hour. You're really lucky, you might see one that looks like that. This one was captured by Vicki Lynn's security camera, and that's just a random shooting star or meteor. It was not connected to the Perseids at all, but that's kind of the same principle that these meteors follow. It's a piece of space debris that is flying through outer space, and then it bumps into our atmosphere, which creates friction. And that friction is considerable. When spacecraft re-enter, they have a heat shield because they do the very same thing. They hit that atmosphere and things heat up. In the case of a meteor, they will generate a tail. And if this thing makes it all the way down and impacts the surface of the Earth, it would be called a meteorite, but the vast majority of them are meteors. They burn up in space before they get down. And the composition of the space debris, whatever it is, it determines the color of that tail. If you use a lot of calcium in there, you might see purple. Typically around here, the meteor tails look blue, which is magnesium, which is a very common element that you would find in these meteors out there. So tomorrow night, our job is to get the dew point, the don't point, wet bulb, globe temperature, all of that stuff ironed out. And we'll do that on a special Science Corner tomorrow. In the meantime, stay safe. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on 14 News at 10 o'clock.